Okay, marking out. It's extremely important that we get this all right. We're very organised, neat with where we've got our stuff, otherwise we'll lose what's going on here. So I'm going to start with these two, which seem to be the most obvious because it's the lid. And again, we've got, I said this before, we've got that little bit of a V still inside the piece there, just because it didn't quite get planed away. Now that's fine, but I would rather that be on the inside of the box than the outside of the box. So I'm just going to mark. I never put markings on the inside because it's too hard to sand off later. I always put my name on the outside. So just this is going to be, put your name on there and decide whether that's the lid or the base. I think that's a little bit uglier than the other piece, so I'm going to call it the base. This one, I'm going to make the lid. And then down here, I have these two pieces, right? And I said that was basically so I could pick the best parts of that. So I'm probably going to get rid of this section with the whole knot in there. So I'll leave that till later anyway. So I'll start with this other piece, which is all these ones on the left here. And the measurements are there. So I've got a 230 for my base. And I'll need to just square this across. The plans show that there is 5 millimeters gap in between. But in actual fact, you only need to have 3 mils for the saw blade. Okay, so once I've done my 230, I'm going to cut actually a 230 and a 230, and then from the other end, I'll cut the other piece, which up here it says it's 106. 106 is there, and I'll just square that across as well. And if I've got this measurement done, what I can do when I go to the saw is just cut off that one piece, and like I did before with the lid, is put that piece on top of the other section of timber, and I don't have to measure it. In fact, I'll show you that straight away. Let's go flying. So I'll come over here and cut the first piece. I'm just going to remind you here, just remember that the saw kerf is on the right hand side of the pencil line, because this piece had to be 106, which means my saw, the 3 millimeter saw groove, has got to be on the right hand side of the blade there. So I've actually tried to make it so that the saw blade has removed half of the pencil line, but the saw blade is completely on the right hand side of the line. So don't forget about that. There's the first one. Put this over the top of the remaining piece and just feel on the end with your fingers to make sure that it is nice and, oh, it's a bit brighter, isn't it? Make it sure it's nice and flush. And then with the saw off, drop it down until it's almost touching the wood. Gently slide this up until it just touches the saw blade. Then raise the saw again and cut it through the whole way. Okay, so that gives you your two pieces that are the same. We'll do the same on the other end. Let me show you again that blade there. See how it's on the left hand side, because this is my piece of wood that I want to keep, and so the saw kerf is on the right hand side of that pencil line, but it's just touching the pencil. So that's one, and we'll line that up on the left side with your fingers, drop it down, just slide it across so it just touches the saw blade gently. Okay, and there was a little bit left over, which was just the timber, the extra 5 mils that I'd allowed, whereas we only needed 3. So now we've got the back, the front, and the two sides of our box. So straight away, let's go back over to the bench, and we'll mark out the which piece is which. So got those 4 here. Did you like that little ride? Okay, so we'll lay these out, put them in the same order here, front, right, back, left. Choose a front, choose the nicest one for the front probably. I'm going to go with that one. What does it say? Front, right. Okay, left and right doesn't make much difference. Back and side. And the other reason why we set that out is because on our next page here, with our joint diagrams, we've got the same front, right, back, and left. And it's very important we understand which piece is which and get it right. So, question now is which side is going to be the inside and which is going to be the outside. There is a section in your plans which shows you a picture to refer to about this. So make sure you have a good look at this little picture at the bottom here, which says if your wood has a cup like that, then make sure you make your name on the outside, and that's above the picture there. So the outside is the inward curve like that, and it'll be better to clamp it up and glue it if you put it that way with the bulge on the inside of the box. So check the plan there. On my timber here, there is a slight bow. It's a little bit frowny at the moment. So if I make it the way that the picture has, this way, which is smiley, then I'll put my name on the smiley side like that. So that'll be the outside of the box where I put my name, and it'll be easy to sand that off later. So basically, they're all slightly smiley onto the table. And you'll find, once you've made one smiley, that little, if you've got that little bit of the mark there from the planer, from the V that didn't come off, if one's up, they'll all be up. So just basically turn them over, and I'm also aligning those lines. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but there's my little V that's left at the bottom, the bottom, the bottom, and the bottom, as in the lower portion of each piece. I'm just going to write my name on that again. Helbig, that's the front. This is the right. And this is the back. And this is then the left, even though it's right over there. So just follow the plan, and we need to make sure we've got that marked out right. Oh, right has a T. So that's done. The other thing that always tells me is if you write your name this way up, it tells you which way up it goes on the project. So we'd never put our name upside down on the project, so it means this is the bottom and this is the top of the project. I think that's about it for this video. We need to work on these pieces to start with, but these other ones, I would just at this point write your name on them fairly big and just hang on to it, because you're better off not cutting that up into all these little pieces which you might lose. I'd sooner just keep them to work on later on in the project. So basically just bundle them up, keep them till later. Same with the lid and the base. Keep them separate, and the next video is going to be on how to cut out the joints and mark out the joints.